There are mornings when you wake up and something just feels off. Your heart races faster than usual. A vague sense of unease creeps into your chest, as if something bad is about to happen, even though nothing specific has gone wrong. You try scrolling your phone to distract yourself. You drink your coffee. You rush to begin the day. But that feeling lingers, quiet and persistent, like a thin cloud that refuses to dissolve. Anxiety, sometimes it arrives as gently as morning mist, other times it crashes in like a storm. But in whatever form it takes, it always leaves you feeling unsafe. You're not alone. Many people, perhaps your friends, your family, or even the stranger sitting beside you on the train, are carrying silent waves of anxiety no one else can see. In today's video, we're not going to try to eliminate anxiety. Instead, we'll learn how to listen to it, understand it, and gently move through it. Drawing from Buddhist meditation practices, modern neuroscience, and deep compassion, here are 7 simple but profound steps to help you find calm when anxiety pays a visit. You don't need to defeat your emotions. You only need to learn how to hold yourself, just a little more gently. Have you ever felt panicked by your own mind? A moment when you're sitting quietly with no one bothering you, yet your heart starts racing, your palms grow sweaty, and a swarm of thoughts rush through your head. Something's not right. What if I made a mistake? What if everything falls apart? Anxiety often tricks us into thinking that there's something wrong with us. But the truth is, it's not the enemy. It's more like a loyal gatekeeper, a little oversensitive at times, simply trying to signal that something within you needs attention. Scientifically speaking, anxiety is a natural brain response to danger. It helped our ancestors survive by warning them of predators, famine, or the risk of being left behind. Today, there are no lions stalking us, but our brains still hit the alarm switch, even if what we're facing is just a deadline, an unanswered message, or a glance from a boss. And spiritually, many Buddhist teachers remind us, emotions are meant to be listened to, not chased away. So if you're feeling anxious, instead of asking, how do I make this go away? Try asking yourself, what is this anxiety trying to tell me? Maybe you've been pushing yourself too hard. Maybe you've been avoiding a truth. Maybe you've drifted away from your real values. Anxiety isn't baggage you're meant to carry forever. It's a quiet letter from within whispering, pause for a moment. Listen to me. In the next part, we'll explore why our minds tend to replay painful memories and how we can gently free ourselves from the trap of endless thoughts. There's something strange about emotions. When we don't name them, they end up naming us. We don't say, I'm feeling anxious. Instead, we think, I'm weak. We don't say, I'm feeling sad. We think, I'm worthless. When we fail to correctly name an emotion, we often confuse it with who we are. And in doing so, we lose the peace that is naturally ours. One day, a young woman came to see the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh and said, my mind feels like a storm, chaotic and full of fear. He looked at her gently and asked, have you tried naming the storm? She was silent. He continued, when you say, I am here with fear, you are no longer the fear. You are the one observing it, holding it with mindfulness. Naming an emotion is actually a way to create a healthy distance from it. Instead of being swept away by thoughts like, everything is going to fall apart, you can gently remind yourself, I'm having an anxious thought, rather than letting emotions define you. You acknowledge them, like clouds passing across the sky, without clinging, without pushing them away. In therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, this technique is called cognitive diffusion, the art of separating yourself from your thoughts. When you do this, you're no longer the one caught in the storm. You become the one guiding through it with the light of awareness. Next time your heart races or your mind spirals, try pausing for a moment and whispering, I'm feeling anxious. I'm having a fearful thought. That alone is already a gentle turning point. In the next part, we'll explore a simple yet powerful way to return to the present moment and soothe anxiety through your breath and your body. When anxiety rushes in, our first instinct is often to run away. Some people immediately reach for their phones to scroll through social media. Others throw themselves into work or eat mindlessly, hoping to escape the rising discomfort. But here's the truth. Emotions don't disappear when we ignore them. They quietly settle into the body, waiting for a vulnerable moment to resurface even stronger. In meditation practice, we don't run from emotions. We return to the body, because the body always lives in the present, while the mind tends to wander into the past or drift into the future. Try this. Sit down completely still. Place one hand on your chest, the other on your belly. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold the breath for 4 counts. Then exhale gently for 6 counts. Repeat 3 times. Feel your chest rise and fall. Notice the breeze touching your skin. Notice life happening right now. A study from Harvard has shown that when we breathe slowly and deeply, the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, shifting the body from a state of stress to a state of calm. In other words, your breath is the switch for peace. A Zen master once said, "Let the breath lead the way, it always knows the way home." So the next time anxiety visits, don't look for a place to hide. Come home to yourself. Let your body hold your weary mind, the way a gentle mother holds her frightened child. And once your body and mind have softened a little, you'll be ready for the next important step. How not to be swept away by the thoughts in your head. Let's explore that in the next part. Thoughts are just thoughts. You don't have to believe them. When the mind is overwhelmed, what we often do is sit frozen in worry. Eyes wide open but seeing nothing. Fists clenched, unsure what to hold on to. We become stuck inside ourselves. But sometimes just one small, gentle, intentional action is enough to open a door within. You don't need to do anything grand. Try something simple like stepping out onto the porch and breathing under the morning sun. Boiling a pot of tea, watching the water bubble, listening to the leaves unfold. Folding your blanket slowly, as if it were a cleansing ritual. Intentional action is a way to shift the energy within, without needing to heal everything right away. In Buddhist monasteries, monks walk in silence each morning. They take slow, mindful steps, bringing full awareness to each movement. Not to go somewhere, but to come back to themselves. Science agrees. Just 10 minutes of gentle movement can trigger the release of endorphins in the brain, lifting your mood and breaking the cycle of negative thought. A friend once shared, "When I couldn't bear the noise in my head, I washed the dishes. But this time I did it slowly. I watched the bubbles, listened to the water, and strangely, I could breathe again." The lesson is this. You don't have to defeat anxiety all at once. You just need to move gently, let your body lead, and let your mind follow. Give yourself one motion, one small shift. It's a reminder that you are still alive. You still have a choice. And once you've started to shift your energy, it's time to explore the next important step. How to end a moment of anxiety with compassion, not judgment. Let's move into the next part. When a close friend is feeling down, what would you say? You wouldn't shout, "Stop worrying." You wouldn't scold, "Why are you being so weak?" Instead, you'd sit beside them, quietly, and say in a soft voice, "I'm here. It's going to be okay." So why can't we say the same thing to ourselves? Caring for yourself is not a luxury, it's a practice of love. In moments of unease, create a small ritual for yourself. It doesn't have to be complex or fancy, just personal and meaningful. You could try adding a few drops of essential oil to a handkerchief and pressing it gently over your heart. Sitting at your desk and writing, "What did I overcome today?" Placing a hand on your chest and whispering, "I'm safe. I'm doing the best I can." Science calls this self-soothing, a way to signal to your nervous system. You don't need to fight. You don't need to flee. Now it's okay to rest. In Buddhism, this is the spirit of metta, loving kindness, toward others, and toward yourself. Because you too deserve comfort. You too need to be held, not by someone else's hands, but by the warm presence within you. The small lesson is this. Sometimes what heals us isn't a solution, but kindness. A gentle word, a slow breath, a gesture just enough to remind you, you are not alone. And when you've learned how to hold yourself with care, when your mind is softened, that is when you're ready to step into the most beautiful thing of all, the stillness of the present moment. Have you ever felt perfectly fine until you picked up your phone and saw someone flaunting their perfect life, a piece of alarming news, an unread message that made you uneasy without even knowing why? Just a few seconds, but your mind was already swept into a nameless storm. The restlessness you're feeling might not come from within, but from a screen. We don't realize it, but every time you check your messages, your brain enters alert mode. Every time you scroll through social media, you compare, silently and unconsciously. Every time you read a shocking headline, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. And just like that, you carry dozens of micro-triggers, and no one ever taught you how to defend against them. A familiar example. Lon, a young woman, starts every morning by picking up her phone before even washing her face. Within 5 minutes, she's seen 3 negative headlines, watched her friends traveling, and been reminded of a deadline in a group chat. She hasn't even gotten out of bed, but her mind is already exhausted. The solution isn't to quit technology, but to notice and adjust. You can try setting a daily offline hour in the evening, even if it's just 30 minutes before bed. Keeping your mornings clear, no social media in the first 60 minutes of your day. Turning off unnecessary notifications. Not everything that knocks deserves to be let in. The small lesson here is this: not all anxiety starts in your mind. Sometimes it begins when we let the outside world define our inner state. And when you learn to protect your stillness from these invisible intrusions, you begin to step into a space where anxiety can no longer reach. There is a place where anxiety cannot reach. Not in the past, not in the future, but right here, in this very moment. We often get lost. We dwell on what has already happened. We worry about what might come. And while the mind wanders through these 2 timelines, we forget the present, the only place where life truly unfolds. Imagine you're painting. If your hand trembles because you're thinking about a past mistake, or you're worried the final picture won't be good enough, you won't be able to paint a single stroke. Only when you take a deep breath, feel each brushstroke, each color, can you create true art. Life is no different. A simple but profound practice. Place your hand on your chest and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, am I okay right now? Not yesterday, not next week, right now. And 9 times out of 10, you'll realize you're actually okay. A small lesson. Happiness is not at the destination. It's in each step you take, each breath you are aware of, each moment you are fully present. So if you're searching for peace, don't chase it down the road. Just pause and listen to the whisper of now. That is your true home. Maybe you're watching this video on a quiet evening, after a long day filled with worries. Or maybe you've just come through a lingering, nameless wave of anxiety. Whatever the reason, you've chosen to pause and to listen. That alone is a brave act, because the first miracle of healing is not about doing something grand. It's about simply returning to yourself. Remember this: you don't need to be perfect to be loved. You don't need to be strong all the time to feel peace. You only need to show up, breathe, and be gentle with yourself. Anxiety will come, but it will also go. Like waves that crash, then recede. Like clouds that drift, then dissolve. But the sky within you is always vast and open. If there's only one thing you take with you today, let it be this: I am not defined by fear. I'm learning to listen to it, so I can move forward with a steadier heart. If this video touched something inside you, leave a simple message. I choose peace. It can be a small signal for your mind to remember that you are worthy of softness. And if you know someone else who may need a little light, share this video with them, because sometimes a single gentle whisper can light up an entire soul that's been stumbling in the dark. Thank you for being here. See you again on another healing journey. And until then, slow down, breathe deeply, and trust you are on the right path.